My name's Mark Johnson. I'm a Superior Court judge in California, a retired Army colonel, and I've teamed up with retired Army Command Sergeant Major Gregory Coker, and we're here to help veterans. I'm Judge Mark Johnson, and one of the privileges I have is to preside over to the Riverside County Veterans Treatment Court. I've been doing that since January 1st, 2012. I'm also a retired colonel of the United States Army. I'm joined here today with Command Sergeant Major retired Gregory Coker. Greg is the chief for the head mentor for our program, and we're an 18-month program that gets veterans back on track when they're on felony probation. And but our real important guest today is Shaun Krukenberg. Shaun is a graduate of our Veterans Treatment Court program. He was actually in court on felony probation, and today he waits his master's degree. He's got a master's degree in social work that will be awarded to him on May 22nd of this year. And Shaun is a guy who's gone in literally 4 years from facing charges on a felony to getting his master's degree. And I think, Shaun, you're what we're all about here on Reaching New Heights. Mm-hmm. And well, welcome, and appreciate you. Thank you. Appreciate you being here. You don't mind. I know I was the judge in your court. You don't mind me being in front of me. I know some people say they don't. Well, not everybody be that comfortable.
No, of course not.
Okay. Well, and Sergeant Major, why don't you jump in?
Well, I'm just again quickly introducing myself. I'm Sergeant Major retired Gregory Coker. I am the CEO of Reaching New Heights Foundation and senior mentor for the Veterans Treatment Court. And I'm always happy to be here, and we just again want to welcome Shaun. Welcome. Shaun was as Judge Johnson was getting ready to mention, that he was a individual who was in the court in the Reaching New Heights in Riverside Veterans Treatment Court, and I can remember when Shaun came into the court. I think there was some challenges that initially for him to get into the court.
Well, yes, I accepted into the court. There was some opposition, but I thought it was a no-brainer, frankly. I thought that's what we're there for. We're here to help guys like this. And Shaun, you've had quite a road. I mean, you're talking back in 2016, you were standing before me facing felony charges. You pled guilty, you were placed on probation, you went through our Veterans Treatment Court, and frankly, you look like $1 million when you're sitting here. Tell us a little, like, how old are you? Why don't you start with there?
I'm 45.
Okay. And where are you from originally?
Born in Colorado, but most of my life was in the Riverside area.
Now, you joined the Marine Corps at 17?
Yes, I was 17. Just trying to get away from bad home life and not really looking forward to going to college or anything like that.
Okay.
My grandfather was in the Air Force, so I decided to kind of follow along those lines.
Okay, so it was kind of a family thing, but it sounds like you said something important there, that you wanted to get away from the home life.
I think a lot of our vets start out that way. Just kind of don't have direction, and it seems like a no-brainer to sign up, serve, whether it's for patriotism, college money down the line.
Okay.
Gives them a lot of opportunity.
And what year was that you enlisted?
1993.
Okay. Tell us about your service.
Okay. Went to Marine Corps boot camp in San Diego.
San Diego.
3 months long. From there, after boot camp leave, then field radio operator course in 29 Palms.
Okay.
Those are the guys still carry Vietnam era radios on their back. They're about 25 pounds with a battery and antenna and everything like that, and that's in addition to the gear we already carry.
Okay.
How was that? How was your training? Did you enjoy that, or was it good stuff? Or
just being in, kind of found family that I didn't have before that. So, very closer than siblings. back and forth the siblings have a lot of times, just messing with each other a lot. And I was still kind of close to home for my friends, right? 29 Palms to Riverside. That was an hour and a half drive.
So you enjoyed it. It was a good time in terms of getting some changes and opportunity.
Yes, it was.
Okay.
Definitely look back fondly on my entire experience.
What were your plans when you enlisted? How long did you plan on staying in the United States Marine Corps?
I planned on doing my 20 years or until they made me leave.
Okay.
It was going to be a career decision.
Okay.
So how many years did you end up doing?
Just over 8.
8. What changed that? Why only 8 if you're going to do 20?
So we were doing some training out at Pendleton, and I, full gear, attempted to climb onto the back of a deuce and a half. That's the big military truck.
I remember those.
At the time, the driver starts accelerating, so I go over backward, full pack on, and nothing to grab on the way down, so just land squarely on my lower back and
so full pack. What do you mean full pack? What's that?
So standard gear load that everyone carries, and then of course I had a radio and extra battery.
What is that? So radio, extra, standard load. What was that weighing? What does that look like?
Right around a 100-pound range.
So you were jumping on the truck, getting on the truck with a 100-pound backpack on, and what happened?
Well, actually, the driver accelerated as I'm reaching up to grab hold, and there was nothing for my hand to grab, so I went down backwards, and
you fell with a 100-pound backpack on. What happened? You fell on your back.
Right. I was young at the time, 24 or so, and so I thought,
Invincible.
injury
Injury
happens, and we just take Motrin and go through it.
So you literally broke your back, type of thing.
Right.
100-pound backpack. You follow it backwards. You break your back. You're 24-year-old. And what'd you do? Get up and
Tough it out. Knew something was wrong, but thought I'd tough it out. About a week and a half in, realized that wasn't going to happen. So went into a sick call. I started X-rays, CAT scan, the whole process, and that's when I found out what was actually wrong. So
what was actually wrong? What did they tell you?
So I forget the number, but one of my vertebrae was actually fractured.
Okay.
And,
that's a painful injury.
yeah.
And you were like just tough. You thought you'd just tough it out for a week at least, or
what they teach you from day one of boot camp. So
well, that's a problem. I know with a lot of vets when it comes time years down the way to trying to bring a claim for a service-connected disability, they toughed it out and they didn't report it.
Right. And
doesn't hurt any less years down the way just because you didn't report it. But
some of these, like I say, sibling relationship give you a hard time for going to sick call.
Yeah.
it's like, hey, that guy's weak, or whatever it is.
Right.
Hey, do like the rest of us. We're all traveling with pain.
Yeah.
We have a saying, light duty, light libo. Like, so liberty is your time off over the weekend, whatever.
Yeah.
And if you were light duty during the week, not helping out, a lot of times you'd have watch just to
Okay.
Did that
picking up your share.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Did that injury affect your military career?
It did. It was shortly after I went to that first sick call. Started being processed for discharge.
For a medical discharge.
Right.
How'd you feel about that?
Really down because, like I said, this was what I wanted to do and what I wanted to be.
Yeah, I dealt with a lot of soldiers, Marines, sailors, airmen who've been put out for that. Career soldiers. The military is really impersonal on that stuff too. They just suddenly you get a piece of paper, you're out.
Right.
Yeah, it's sad. And these are folks who had planned on a career.
So you come in at 17, you get away, and you plan on doing a career, and then you go and you fall over, and the next thing you know, you're being processed out, and that must have been hard. And so, how did that change your life?
Well, this was, at this point, 8 years of my life since I was 17, and other than a brief job delivering pizzas, that's all I knew as far as a career. Right? So, really had didn't have a full direction. Right? I
Yeah.
got out and did security. I think about half the vets get out and have some kind of a security job.
When did you?
Not construction.
I think you said, I talked to you before, 2001, is that when you left active duty?
Yes, June of 2000.
Okay, so were you hurting? Physically, were you hurting when you left active duty because of that injury?
I was, I had a, Motrin that they issue a lot of us.
Yeah.
They hadn't prescribed me anything stronger, which, looking back, probably a good idea. But
Yeah.
a lot of physical pain, and I didn't know at the time. Also had depression, and just realized that alcohol would help with both issues. I didn't know what the issue was, but I know alcohol helped with it.
Okay. Did you say you're drinking? I mean, a lot of people, I hear this a lot, and it's true, that a lot of people, that's where they start drinking is the military. I don't want to give the military too hard of a time on the culture of drinking, but there really is a culture of drinking. I mean, what else are you going to do in the evening after a long, hard day with your brothers and sisters out in the field? If you have the chance to go sit down and drink some beer, it's great. Problem is sometimes it turns into more of a problem than we want.
Bunch of 20-year-olds with nothing to do after 1600. So
Oh yeah, you can drink and get up and go to work. It's
Right.
0600 the next morning without a thing. So now dealing with the pain you had, what were you doing for your pain after you got out of the Corps?
Again, drinking, which escalated quickly from beer and some hard drinks now and then, but and it went up to within a few years it was vodka right out of the bottle.
Okay, so you were just drinking vodka straight. Do you mind? And let me tell you, I appreciate very much you talking to us about these things. I know they're not easy. I tell you, but I think there's probably a vet out there right now that you're talking to. Hopefully a lot of them. Because there's a lot of vets hurting that need help. So you're actually drinking vodka straight out of the bottle. What year are we up to now about?
Mid 2002.
Now, I forgot to ask you. You were married. I think you got married in what year? Your first marriage.
95, while I was still in.
Okay. So, and you got divorced at some point. When was that?
Separated in 2002. Wound up getting divorced. Actually, divorced a few years later.
Okay. Talk about your drinking. Your drinking, and maybe if that did that contribute to the breakdown of your marriage?
Yes, it did. I isolated more and more, and was drinking pretty much from mid-morning on till it was time to go back to sleep.
Okay, like if I said in terms of vodka, how much were you drinking a day? How much vodka were you drinking a day?
So at my lowest point, about a half gallon, the plastic jugs you get at the grocery store.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a lot. Vodka is always the go-to alcohol because you could buy a big thing of Pop-Off for like $7.99 a half gallon. That tends to be very often the go-to hard liquor.
Or usually where you guys wind up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, Shaun, during this time, were you functional? Were you doing things because you had marriage, and were you able to accomplish some things, or what did that look like as you drank?
Well, like I said, I mentioned doing security work, which is a lot of hours by yourself at night. So it kind of allowed me to maintain drinking whenever I wanted to.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Now, talk about your marriage. At some point, did you start having like major problems with your first wife?
Right.
What were those? Tell us about those.
So started probably within a few months of getting out. Again, drinking nonstop, isolating. And in a big way, just wanting to be left alone, even though I was married and had kids.
Yes. Okay. And you're married. When did you get divorced?
2010.
Okay. Oh, so that marriage lasted till 2010.
Well, we separated in 2002.
Okay.
And, I just never did anything about it, right? Because I was.
Oh, so you never lived with your now ex-wife after 2002?
Correct. Right. Just never filed till.
Now, at some
Years
point, I
later.
know you actually went into some type of alcohol treatment around 2005, a more intensive program.
Right. I did the VA's program in San Diego, which is a 28-day inpatient.
Okay.
And yeah, you're on site except for one weekend day per week where they wanted you to actually experience being out in the community without drinking.
Why did you go to that program then?
The woman I was seeing at the time, she kind of gave me one of those ultimatums, get treatment or it's done. So that's what I went ahead and did.
Now, you also were convicted of a felony around then, weren't you, in 2005?
Yes, I was having issues with my first wife over seeing the kids because, to her credit, she didn't want me being around them drunk. So one evening I went to the office where she worked and kicked the door open, just drunken, outraged.
At the office, at
Yes,
her work office.
right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And in the process, triggered a silent alarm. And the police showed up, and I was on the couch in the lobby with my bottle, just
Okay.
angry and
I think we said a certain style
Yeah,
there.
he was there with the bottle. Hey, was it? Hey, I'm here. Yeah. Okay.
Well, so you were actually convicted of a felony out of this.
yes.
Okay, so is that one of the things that sent you to treatment in 2005?
No, actually,
Okay.
the other way around. I finished treatment around mid-March of 2005,
I got it.
and then went back to drinking, and then later that same year
Okay.
was when the arrest took place.
Okay.
Now
So
that-
yeah, go ahead,
At
sir.
that time, how many DUIs had you had overall?
By 2005, it was 2. I got a third one in 2006, and then the one that brought me to Veterans Court in 2014.
Okay.
Okay, so did alcohol or your consumption of alcohol? It sounds like it started as basically to alleviate pain, and then it just got out of control.
Right.
And did it? I know at some point you actually were living in your car.
Yes, I was. Let's see, from about 2006, after I had been released and met the terms for the burglary charge. I was living in a '97 Jetta.
Okay.
At the time, though, I just wanted to drink and be left alone, so it wasn't kind of the barrier that being homeless would be for a lot of people.
Okay.
So what caused you not to be living in the Jetta?
The third DUI,
The DUI.
they impounded the car. Of course,
Ah.
not doing anything. I had no way to get it back out after I was released. So I wound up moving back to Riverside and moving back into my parents' house.
So you were sliding down step by step by step.
Right. And,
Okay.
thinking it was someone else's fault the entire time.
But that's it. Okay, I think that's important. You did you see that maybe you were part of the problem?
Not at the time. Like the DUI, that last DUI, I was parked and planning on going to sleep, so I blamed the officers. Like I wasn't trying to do anything. I just wanted to sleep.
Yeah.
But of course, under the law, if you're in a car and you have access to the keys, it's a danger to everyone else, so they have to act on that.
Okay, it sounds like, so then at some point you're back up. That was down in San Diego. You're back up to our county. We're in Riverside County, and you moved in with your parents.
Right. And
Were you working?
I got a job at KFC at 32 years old.
Yeah.
Okay.
Still drinking, but I think what kind of kept me out of trouble was I didn't have a car to drive. I was still
Okay.
drinking just as much.
Okay.
But
You're still putting down
Oh,
like a
yeah.
half gallon and that much.
Wow.
yeah, I would get off work a lot of times like 9-10 at night,
Yeah.
grab a bottle, and walk back to the house, and that was the routine.
Okay. Now, when at some point you went back to the Veterans Administration to get some help with your drinking.
Yes, 2010 I went voluntarily under pressure from my fiance at the time.
Okay.
Same kind of thing, ultimatum again.
Second time a woman's pushed you into going.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so then that was part of the problem, right? It was never for me wanting
Right.
to
Yes.
improve.
Yeah.
It was for someone else. I went to the program. During the intake phase, it's a program they call Willingness, where they just want
Yes.
to see if you can show up every day at 9 a.m.
Okay.
And I'm going through withdrawals. They're starting to get pretty bad. Sweating, my hands are shaking, feeling nauseous. And one of the providers there, he just looked across at me and told me, things are going to be okay.
Clifton.
Yeah.
I know Clifton. We
what
work
did
with.
that mean? Yeah, what did that mean to you?
I just felt that he meant it, and he, just the compassion really came through in his voice when he said that. Within a week, I knew I wanted to kind of work somewhere along those lines. Serving
okay.
veterans.
You mean he became, in a way, kind of a motivation for you to do what he was doing?
Right, and someone did that for him because he'd gone through the same program in 2002, I believe.
Well, was it literally like, that I don't know. I didn't know if Clifton, I just know I met him, and the guy's a miracle worker.
Yeah,
I think he's retired.
Yeah, he
now,
retired.
but was it just that comment?
It sounds really strange, but
Made you want to go into where you're now, which I'll give a little bit of what do they call that? I can't remember the term that you use to when you talk about a part of a movie beforehand, like a spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. He's doing great, and he's working with vets, and he's doing that kind of job. But you think that was a motivation? That one little line there.
I think that was the start, and
I believe it.
It wasn't a smooth path from then on, but that was the start.
Like a motivation or something, a mission, or like an idea.
Right, just seeing it because I could just hear that he cared in the way the way he said it.
Okay.
And so I'll just say this: currently in the Veterans Court program in Riverside, we have our primary place through the Veterans Administration. We send veterans for drug and alcohol treatment. Is called. They start with willingness, and they go through a 5-phased program called the STAR program. It's an intensive daily alcohol and drug treatment program. It lasts about 5 months now. And so it sounds like you went through something like that.
When I went through, it was ATP, the Addiction Treatment Program, and it was actually 18 months long.
Okay. You didn't drink for 18 months.
Right. I was doing treatment. They have what they call compensated work therapy, where you can actually work on the grounds of the VA.
Yeah.
And it was actually over 18. It was, I think, closer to the 3-year mark that I stayed sober.
Okay, so let me see. I'll take a look. I've got your complaint here. April 11th, 2014. It's a felony DUI, and you were convicted of possession of firearm by a felon. And so it's obviously at some point you relapsed. You went back to your drinking.
Right, and I'd managed to get my hands on another car, so
I'll say this. I remember this Smith & Wesson 38 caliber. It was in the trunk of your car. It wasn't like this guy was armed, walking around with a DUI. It was in the trunk of his car. It was his grandfather's from the Korean War, but it is a firearm. Mm-hmm. So you get arrested for a DUI, and because you had the priors, I think it became a felony. No, it's a misdemeanor. The felony is the firearm. So, talk to us about that. What's going on there? You started drinking, and talk about that.
Right. So along the same lines, I planned on getting in the back of my van and taking a nap, not driving anywhere at the time. So again, when this arrest took place, I blamed law enforcement for doing their job, as opposed to saying if I wasn't drunk or in a vehicle, none of this had to happen. Actually, I was drinking to the point that I blew a .32 on the breathalyzer.
Wow.
Which that's what the initial judge said when I appeared.
I think. Oh, the initial judge, yeah, right. Because I was the one who took you into our Veterans Court.
Right.
Okay, yeah, 3.2's high. It's not the record for Veterans Court. I actually had a 5.1. I don't even know how that's possible. You got to drink a lot of years to get where you can do that, but 3.2's really high. So we took you in. We brought you in on an 18-month probation program designed to get you back on track.
Right.
But it sounds like you had some issues for a while. You were in the program about 3 years total before you finally graduated. So what was taking so long?
No major waves or anything along the way. I just tried to get away with drinking. And I'd inevitably get caught.
Yeah.
First couple times it was the ankle monitor for 90 days at a time.
Mm-hmm.
The second time, ankle monitor and community service at the Queen of Hearts Ranch.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I remember.
yeah.
Which turned out not to be so much of a punishment because I was with horses and I even stayed on like an extra, I think,
Yeah.
4 hours after my time was there.
That's a good program.
I remember.
So finally, the third time, you as judge just kind of had it and said, okay, well, you're going to cool off in the vet program at the Banning jail for 4 months.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember. I remember just really having the team having this kind of a struggle on what do we do and how do we, we got the VA programs. He's been through a couple of the VA programs already, and then we've got the current programs. And so what do we do? But what I remember about you is that you were humble. You never. It was that challenge of that drinking. We have people who have all kinds of other cases and problems, but when you got somebody that, man, there's an issue, and it was just that constant drinking, and we're thinking we're just not able to get at that. We as a team, and we're not able to get him what he needs. So that was our biggest challenge. I remember that.
Well, so at the VET program, Veterans Enrichment Training, it was a in-custody drug treatment program. It lasted about 4 months. Right. Now, is there some point where you felt you hit rock bottom?
That was. Like I said, around 2010 was when I decided that I wanted to get into some kind of career that would allow me to help other veterans. So during this time, I had gotten my drug and alcohol counseling certificate and was working on getting my bachelor's in social work. Mm-hmm. I was actually accepted into the program, and I was due to start in September of 2016. Mm-hmm. And this last incident took place in August. Okay. And got the 4 months in jail. So very competitive program to get into. And as far as I was aware at the time, I just ruined everything by, drinking again. The same time I was in custody going through alcohol withdrawals and taking cold turkey off my depression medication. So there was just at a really low spot, thinking that whatever I planned on doing in the future was done just with that one incident.
So you had a couple of things going on: the depression, the substance abuse, all at the same kind of time you're dealing with. Man,
right?
That seems to be pretty challenging. Perfect.
So for me, that was my rock bottom moment. It was first week or so in custody.
They say, and I actually believe it, that very often people have to hit rock bottom to really, the light bulb doesn't go off until they really hit rock bottom. That's when they really realize, I've got a problem. I need some help. And I mean, if I were to ask you, are you an alcoholic? What would you say?
Yes.
Okay.
With rock bottom, I think what we like to say is people usually don't change until the consequences are worse than the rewards.
Yeah.
So a lot of times with just when I was given like the ankle monitor or community service at a horse ranch, the consequences weren't worth whatever I was getting from drinking, so I continued on.
Well, you actually before, and I don't know if people, I've actually gotten this a lot as a judge, but you actually thanked me for putting you in jail.
Yeah, not during that first week.
Well, I wouldn't expect that.
But once I went through the program, realized this was it. I need to make changes, or this is going to be my life.
Yeah.
Yes. Actually was thankful to have gone through that experience.
And how did it go from there? Okay, that was in August 2016, and you ended up graduating from our Veterans Court program, and you've since had your charges dismissed. It sounds like you went uphill quickly.
Right. During that process, I decided that I was going to get my degree, kind of set myself a rough date to have my master's degree in social work.
Mm-hmm.
Really didn't look back at drinking or anything else since then. Kind of found a purpose.
Sounds like you had a new mission.
I did, right. I didn't realize it while I was going through, the heavy drinking, and that a big part of it was not having a sense of a purpose or a direction, because the entire time you're in the service, you have a mission and a purpose, and at age 17, 18, this is who you are. and then you get out and that's gone, and you're trying to
Yeah.
adjust to a world where there isn't such a direct mission. It's
Yeah.
get a job, pay bills, but that's not really
You
the
know,
same sense of purpose.
and I think that that's big in the program that we have, and I know Judge, always talks about community service. That's a mission outside of yourself, and I think that even when we've lost folks, and they've said that, hey, we didn't have a mission, but I know that all service members and just I think people in general need missions.
Yeah. The vets who do best in our program are always those that find a sense of mission that, and it usually one out of themselves, a good mission, not just, I just want to make a ton of money. A mission more like helping others. Now, it sounds like for years, I mean, you're obviously highly intelligent and you're kind of studying to work with veterans, but you're also still drinking. Did you ever feel like you were living a double life?
I did. The first step along my education was the substance abuse counseling. So I would go to work and help people quit drinking, quit using, and then I would go home and drink. It was a complete conflict, but a lot of times while being caught in addiction, I didn't see it.
Yeah.
I think that's the key to seeing it. I talk to folks that have challenges, and I remember just for myself, sometimes you don't really even know or see it yourself until it's, you're faced with it. And I remember a veteran, when we talk about PTSD, that asked, how are you? I'm fine. I'm okay. And I said, well, if you I said, if I asked your wife, what would she say? And he just kind of smiled and clenched his lips and leaned back in his chair. He didn't answer, but sometimes we say we are fine, but
okay. And Shaun, you also you went through a couple alcohol programs. Sometimes I'll hear from people who perhaps don't want someone to come into our Veterans Treatment Court, and they'll say, Judge, he's already been through 2 programs in the past, and that isn't persuasive to me. I've had guys who've gone through 7 programs. The whole point is where you end up, I think. Okay, we're going to fail. I certainly wouldn't want to waste everyone's time describing my failures in life because we'd be talking here for hours. But what do you think of that? That sometimes it takes a couple programs. But don't just agree with me. That's what I'm thinking.
No, you gave me a chance when prosecutor and even probation said I should just be sent back to...
well, kick him out. Come on.
Sent back and looking at 3 years. And I think it was just that one last time that that was the one that mattered.
The one that mattered.
So you are back now. You've had a lot of success. In fact, you're getting your master's degree later this month. Can you tell us about that?
Right. So I was able to get back into the Bachelor's of Social Work program. So I did, for Bachelor's, I did social work and psychology. And like I said, I was on a mission at this point. So I went straight through for the Bachelor's program and right into the Master's program 5 months later. And that's my education is actually coming to a close unless I decide to pursue a doctorate at some point.
Wow. I bet you do. But now with all this education, what are you going to do with it?
So I enrolled in school with the intent of working at the Department of Veterans Affairs. That's still the goal. In the meantime, I'm looking at working with homeless veterans through County of LA through a friend I know. Mm-hmm. And, something until the position that I ultimately went to school for opens up at the VA.
Okay. What would you say to some veteran out there? You know as well as I do, there's thousands of veterans sleeping in cars. They're getting drunk every day. They feel like their life has got no hope. They don't know what to do. What would you say to these veterans?
I would tell them that you're definitely not alone in what you're going through. And you don't have to stay there. Whatever it takes, whether it's a program or a pastor or a loved one, ask for help. And if that person can't help you, ask someone else for help. But whatever you have to do, you don't have to go down the path you're on. You can turn around anytime. And you don't have to follow it all the way to rock bottom.
Okay. So key is asking for help. I know that's kind of a challenge for us, but there are organizations, there are people that are out there to help.
Mhm.
And you can run into a lot of doors that people say and give platitudes and say they want to help, but there are some genuine people who want to help.
Right, and that's the key, is getting help. It's a great first start to acknowledge you have a problem, whether it's a PTSD, addiction, or any mental illness. Acknowledging that you have that, it's a great first step. But you have to make change, you have to do something with that knowledge, not just rest on the fact that you're suffering from that condition.
How are you avoiding, say, relapses after 2 years? How, because this time you just have this gut feeling talking with you, hey, it's going to stick. How are you doing that? What do you do every day that keeps you from maybe getting back to where you were in 2009?
The spirit of the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous, or Narcotics Anonymous, the final step is to bring what you have to others.
Yes.
And so, and that's when we talk about purpose or mission, that's what's done it for me. Volunteering and eventually working with others who were struggling.
Do you feel the VA, I think, from what I'm hearing, is done right by you?
Oh, right.
Yeah. I was going to say, I would say this to our veterans who are out there with serious drinking problems, serious drug problems. Just go into the VA. I'm telling you, you go up to the desk up there and just tell the person, I need some help. They'll get somebody down there to help you, and they'll have you. They got world-class treatment there.
Sure.
I'll say this. I think I said it in our first show, but I have been nothing but impressed with the Veterans Administration. It's very fashionable nowadays to beat them up all the time. I can tell you their work is miraculous on dealing with drug and alcohol treatment, post-traumatic stress disorder. And I mean, you were talking about Clifton there. Right. And they got people helping that really care. And so you're never going to hear me on this podcast with Greg over here saying that the VA, we need to do more, they need to do more, they're not good. No, they do a lot.
And one thing I would just want to clarify for people listening, yeah, the VA does a tremendous job. And is there work or challenges for any huge organization? Absolutely. The VA works in a process. They will immediately help you. However, there is a process. There are things that need to happen. So yeah, you can get some immediate help. However, if you're looking for the long term and the additional stuff, you've got to do your part. There is a process, and that's what I think a lot of times folks forget, is that there are things that have to be signed, and that's just the way it is. So
I think a lot of things. One thing that a lot of people also forget is the VA, whether it's Loma Linda, whatever individual VA you may work with, they have a budget from Washington. So they may get the budget to help, let's say, 1,000 people, but their caseload is 2,000, whatever the number might be. And so they're doing the best they can with what they've been provided in the first place. It's not that they're bad providers or don't care. It's just they're overwhelmed a lot of times.
Yeah. I noticed you've got a band there on with a phone number on it. What is that?
This is the Veterans Crisis Line.
I'll tell you what, we'll post that up in the end. He's got Support Our Vets, and the Veterans Crisis Line is important for our veterans. Shaun, I'm really impressed. And I tell you, putting you in jail was the best thing I ever did. I'm convinced. No, I'm happy, but I'd like to thank you for what you're doing for our veterans, for coming on and for the help. That's one of my coins. And if you notice that eagle there, I'm a retired colonel. Full bird. So I'm proud of that.
Full
but
bull.
I like to be. But I know we always used to say a full bull. But Sergeant Major, anything
No,
else,
I'm just proud and honored to have had the opportunity to work with you. I'm proud to have had the opportunity to advocate for you. This is what Reaching New Heights Foundation does, and continue the great work. I look forward to working with you in the future.
Thank you.
Well done.
And publicly, yes, thank you for putting me in jail.
And let me just say, if you like what we did, please subscribe. We need your help. I'm not making any money out of this, so I'm a judge. I'm not allowed to, and I wouldn't do it anyhow. If this is all about helping veterans, please subscribe, and we need your help. And if there's something you want us to talk about with veterans, let us know.
We'll be happy to do it.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you for watching. Hopefully this was very helpful to you and we share some information that may answer some questions for you. Follow us on social media. Make sure you subscribe and leave a comment below if you have any questions or any thoughts. Reaching New Heights Foundation was happy to bring this to you and supporting Veterans Program. Thank you and have a good day.